Take a deep breath. Let go of the outside world for a moment and listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you could shift your reality in ways you never imagined. What if you could manifest large sums of money in just 4 days or less? No more waiting, no more hoping, no more hustling for the sake of hustling. This isn't hype, it's not fantasy. It's the method taught by Neville Goddard, one of the most powerful metaphysical teachers to ever walk this earth. And it all begins with one forgotten truth. Feeling is the secret. You see, most people want money. They visualize it, they affirm it, they talk about abundance, journal about success, maybe even script or do vision boards, but deep down, they still feel broke. They still feel like it's not happening fast enough or not happening at all. That's the contradiction. You can say all the right words, but if your dominant feeling is one of lack, of waiting, of someday, then your subconscious takes that as truth, and your reality will follow. Here's the problem. You've been trained to believe that money comes from effort, from long hours, from grinding and chasing and sacrificing. But what if I told you, money actually responds to something else? Not your sweat, not your struggle, but your assumption. What you assume to be true, especially in feeling, must become your experience. Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And that's the key. Not just imagining wealth, but feeling as though it's already yours. Not someday. Not when your business finally takes off or when that deal goes through. Right now, in this moment. So here's the shift. You stop waiting. You stop searching for signs. You stop begging the universe for proof. And instead, you step into the feeling that your financial desire is already fulfilled. This is how you manifest large sums of money in 4 days or less. Not by forcing it, but by aligning with it internally, energetically. Let's break it down. Step 1. The night ritual. Every night before you go to sleep, you enter the most powerful gateway to manifestation. In that drowsy, relaxed state, right before sleep, your conscious mind begins to fade, and your subconscious becomes wide open. This is where change happens. So, tonight, instead of falling asleep thinking about bills or stress or how long this will take, you do something radical. You close your eyes. You let your body relax. And you feel the feeling of already having the money. Not imagining it in the future, not pretending, but stepping into the state of already rich. What would that feel like? Would you feel relief, gratitude, power, freedom? Would you breathe easier, sleep deeper? Maybe you'd walk into the bank and see those numbers glowing on the screen. Maybe you'd hear someone say, "You've just been approved," or "Your account has been credited with $50,000. Whatever the scene, don't just see it, feel it, and let that feeling carry you into sleep. This is not fantasy. This is creation. Step 2. Morning alignment. When you wake up, your first few thoughts are vital. Don't rush to your phone. Don't check your balance. Don't look for proof. Instead, return to that feeling you slept in. That same ease. That knowing. That quiet. Of course the money is already mine energy. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to identity, to inner states, to what you've already accepted as true, without needing the world's permission. To him that hath, more shall be given. Not because he worked harder, but because he feels that he already has. That's why people who feel rich tend to get richer, and those who feel poor, even while affirming abundance, stay stuck. Your feeling is your signal. Your emotional state is the instruction you're giving the universe. So start your day not as someone hoping to become wealthy, but as someone who already is. Walk with that subtle power. Speak with that unshakable calm. And no matter what you see around you, stay loyal to the feeling. The science behind the secret. You might be wondering, but how does this work? Can a feeling really change my financial reality? Let's ground it in truth. When you consistently feel something is real, your subconscious mind accepts it without resistance. And your subconscious controls nearly everything: your beliefs, habits, energy, perception, and even how others treat you. What you accept emotionally becomes the baseline of your life. That's why Neville said, "You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are." And what you are is not defined by what you say, but by what you feel. If you feel abundant, doors will open. If you feel supported, help will arrive. If you feel rich, long before the money shows up, the world must reflect that assumption. It's not magic. It's law. Now let's talk about why 4 days. Why is that the window? Why not a week? Why not tomorrow? Because 4 days is the sweet spot where belief and expectancy can live together. It's long enough for your subconscious to register a shift, but short enough that you don't fall into waiting mode. If you truly accept that your desire is already fulfilled, then you don't sit around hoping. It becomes natural to expect it. Neville used to say, "Live in the end, dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, persist in that assumption, and it will harden into fact." So, let's walk through this, day by day. Day 1. Enter the state. This is not about doing 100 things. This is about doing one thing, deeply. Tonight, when you go to bed, follow this simple process. Relax your body. Let go of tension. Breathe. Close your eyes and imagine what it would be like if the money had already arrived. Feel it as though it's happening now. Don't make this complicated. Keep it simple and sensory. What would you do tomorrow if your bank account was suddenly full? How would you feel falling asleep knowing everything is handled? Let the scene unfold naturally, almost like a memory. And most importantly, feel the truth of it, not as a wish, but as something that already belongs to you. This is the most powerful thing you can do. The moment you impress your subconscious with the feeling of already having, it begins working to align your outer world with that new inner reality. Day 2. Reinforce without forcing. Today, you might notice something subtle. The desire feels a little closer, the vision a little more believable, or maybe you still feel nothing at all. That's okay. This day is not about fireworks. It's about foundation. Day 2 is when the old and the new begin to collide. Your mind might start whispering, "Is this really working? Shouldn't something have happened by now? Maybe I need to do more." This is the crossroads. You can choose the old state of waiting, worrying, doubting, or you can gently, quietly return to your chosen state, the feeling of wealth already received. Remember, you are not chasing the money. You're not trying to make it happen. You are becoming the version of you who naturally receives it. And how does that version move? How do they speak, walk, think? They're not anxious. They're not desperate. They don't keep checking their account or questioning their worth. They trust. They flow. They expect. This is not passive. It's not denial. It's a quiet inner confidence, a knowing that things are unfolding behind the scenes. Be still and know that your assumption is working, that unseen forces are already in motion. Your only job today is to live in alignment with the version of you who already has the money. No begging, no searching, no emotional roller coaster. If doubt shows up, don't wrestle with it. Just nod at it and move on. Thanks for showing up, but I've already chosen my reality. Repeat this gently to yourself if needed. I already have it. I don't need to see it to know it's mine. And anytime your mind wants to check, where is it? Why hasn't it come? Am I doing this right? Pause, smile, and remind yourself, you never check on a seed 5 minutes after planting it. You water it, trust it, and live your life. Do the same here. Maybe that means taking a walk and imagining how you'll feel when the money is spent freely. Maybe it's smiling when you pay for something, knowing more is coming. Maybe it's just closing your eyes for 30 seconds and breathing in the feeling of already rich. These are your power moments. You don't have to stay in the feeling all day long. You simply need to return to it consistently and with conviction, because it's not intensity that changes your life, it's persistence. Remain faithful to the assumption, and it will harden into fact. Today is about one thing: loyalty to the new state. No matter what the outside world says, no matter how loud the old story gets, choose the new one. Feel it, rest in it. Today, you become stable in the assumption that wealth is already yours. And that silent inner shift? That's when the outer begins to move. Day 3. Ignore the appearances. This is the test day. By now, your subconscious is shifting. You've been planting new feelings, assuming a new version of yourself, but the outer world? It might still look exactly the same. And this is where most people give up. They assume it's not working. They get impatient. They start checking for signs, refreshing the account, looking for confirmation, and when they don't see it, they slip right back into the feeling of lack. They trade their inner power for outside approval. Don't do this. This day is not a setback. It's a sacred opportunity. It's the moment the old story begins to unravel, and it wants your attention one last time. You might get unexpected expenses. You might hear bad news. You might even feel doubt creeping in louder than before. But hear this. These are echoes. Echoes of the version of you who used to feel unworthy, uncertain, unsupported. Let them pass. Do not react. Do not identify. Do not chase. Circumstances do not matter. Only your state of consciousness does. So when something unwanted shows up, don't panic. Don't ask, why is this happening? Instead, anchor deeper into the truth. It's already done. This appearance cannot shake me. This is the day you build true faith. Not blind hope, but embodied conviction. Not needing proof. Not needing permission. You simply know. And that knowing, that calm, unshakable inner decision, that's the signal the universe cannot ignore. By now, you've practiced sleeping in the state of wealth. You've started waking up with a quiet confidence. You've ignored appearances, shifted your inner story, and stayed loyal to your assumption. Now, you prepare to receive. Not through struggle, not through force, but through stillness and certainty. You're not reaching for the money. You're not anxiously scanning your phone for signs or waiting by the door for a miracle check. You are not looking out there anymore, because everything you've ever desired begins in here, within. Today is not about making something happen. Today is about standing in the vibration of already done. It's about being the version of you that money flows to easily, naturally, abundantly. So, what does that version do today? They relax. They breathe deeply. They smile for no reason. They walk like someone who's already been paid, already been chosen, already living the life they imagined. If something shows up today, a gift, a new client, a refund you didn't expect, a brilliant money-making idea, receive it with grace and confidence. If nothing appears on the surface, still give thanks, because everything is already in motion. Just like seeds sprout beneath the soil, your new reality is forming behind the scenes. This is not the time to question. This is the time to trust. Receive mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Know it's yours. Because when the feeling becomes natural, the world must conform. You no longer ask, where is it? You declare, it's here, and it's mine. That is true wealth consciousness. That is receiving with certainty. Let's be honest. At some point during these 4 days, doubt is going to come knocking. And not politely either. It'll show up uninvited, dressed in logic, dressed in reason, dressed in fear. It'll whisper things like, but I don't see anything yet. This feels like pretending. What if nothing happens? What if I'm just fooling myself? Who am I to think this would work for me? It might even sound like your own voice, because for most of your life, you've been taught the reality comes first, and belief comes second. You've been conditioned to wait until something changes out there before you're allowed to feel different in here. But manifestation, the kind Neville spoke of, works in reverse. It says, feel it first, assume it now. Let the world catch up. So when that doubt arises, don't panic, don't resist it, don't make it your enemy. Doubt is not the problem. Believing the doubt is. The key is to notice it, name it, and return, gently and powerfully, to your chosen state. It's like training a wild horse. The first few times it bucks, it panics, but you don't give up on it. You don't scream at it. You hold the reins. You stay calm. You redirect. And slowly, it listens. Your mind is the same. When doubt arises, you simply say, I see you, but I no longer follow you. Because here's the truth. You don't have to believe with your head. You don't have to debate it. You don't need a 10-point plan or evidence on paper. You only need to feel it as real. You only need to return to the feeling that the money, the opportunity, the breakthrough is already yours. It might feel like pretending at first. That's okay. Every new state feels unfamiliar in the beginning. You've worn the old state of lack, worry, not enough. For so long, it felt like home. But now, you're building a new home. You're laying new emotional foundations. The unfamiliar feeling of abundance is not fake. It's just new. And the more you return to it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, it feels like your default setting. And that's when the world bends. Here's something most people never understand. The world is not testing you. The doubt is not a sign of failure. It's a final echo of your old state, asking if you're really done with it. And when you say yes, not by shouting, but by choosing, you rise. So what do you do when doubt shows up? You breathe, you pause, you gently return. You feel the abundance again. You imagine again. You choose again. You don't wrestle with it. You don't fight the old thoughts. You simply stop feeding them, because your energy goes where your attention flows. And every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you feed the new. You strengthen the assumption, you impress the subconscious, and the subconscious, once impressed, must express. Let this be your mantra when the doubt gets loud. I don't chase. I don't doubt. I dwell. I dwell in the feeling that it's already mine. And because I dwell in it, it must become my world. Neville didn't say, try and manifest. He said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He said to do it with persistence, with faith, with the quiet, unshakable knowing that the invisible is far more real than what your senses show you. Because the truth is, your senses will lie. They will try to convince you nothing's changing. At this point, you've done something most people never do. You've turned inward. You've dared to feel something before the world gave you permission. You've assumed wealth, not as a wish, but as a reality. And in doing so, you've tapped into a law far more powerful than effort or logic. You've become the version of you who no longer waits, because it's already done. But this isn't the end. This is the beginning of a new identity. You don't go back after these 4 days. You don't return to hoping, longing, begging. You've crossed a threshold within yourself, and now you live from a new place. A place where you no longer need validation. A place where you no longer ask if you're worthy. A place where abundance no longer feels like a fantasy. It feels familiar. You move forward as the one who knows. You walk through life with a calm power. You carry yourself with ease. Not because you're pretending, but because you've stepped into a deeper truth. A truth that doesn't shake when the bank account updates, or when a bill arrives, or when someone questions your dream. Neville said, claim yourself to be that which you desire to be, and that you shall be. Do not question how it will come about. Just go your way knowing that the evidence of what you have assumed must appear. This is where people make the mistake. They assume for 4 days. Then they watch the world. They start looking for signs, for proof, for things to shift. But creation doesn't work that way. The oak tree does not sprout the day after the acorn is planted. The sun does not rise faster because you stare at the horizon. The flower does not bloom faster because you shout at the soil. And money does not manifest on your schedule. It comes when it no longer feels like a miracle, but a natural part of who you are. So after these 4 days, don't search. Rest. Rest in the new state. Rest in your chosen identity. Rest in the knowing that the subconscious has already accepted your assumption. And the world? It has no choice but to reflect it. Not maybe, not sometimes, always. Because what you feel as true within must become true without. If you take nothing else from this entire message, remember this. You are the cause. The world is the effect. The money is not outside of you. It is not hiding in some faraway job or waiting behind a specific person or locked inside a strategy. It's already here, in you, in your feeling, in your state of being. when you assume it with full conviction, when you dwell in it, persist in it, breathe it, the external must yield. It's not philosophy. It's not even spirituality. It's law. Stop asking when. One of the most common ways people block their manifestation is by asking, when will it show up? How long should this take? What if it's not working fast enough? These questions come from a place of lack. They come from the old state, the state where money is separate from you, somewhere out in the future. But in your new state, you no longer ask when. You already know it's done. You're not waiting for proof. You are the proof. Your feeling is the signal, and it is the most honest prayer you can offer. So instead of saying, I hope it comes soon, say, it is mine. It is done. It is already unfolding. That shift, subtle, quiet, but powerful, is the difference between delay and deliverance. The unseen always precedes the seen. If you feel discouraged because nothing seems to be happening, remember this. The delay is an illusion. Everything is already in motion. You just haven't seen the fruit yet because the roots are still growing. And just like gravity never fails, this law never fails either. Persist in the assumption that it is already done, and it must come to pass. That's not opinion. That's not maybe. That's certainty, because the unseen always precedes the seen. Imagination always comes before manifestation. Feeling always lays the blueprint for reality. Let's address something deep that holds many people back. The belief that they don't deserve it. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've struggled for years. Maybe you've been told money is evil, or hard to earn, or only for those people. Let that go now. Let it all go. You are not manifesting because you are perfect. You are manifesting because you are the creator. And creation responds not to guilt, but to alignment. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to earn the right to feel wealthy. You simply have to assume it. You have to allow yourself to feel deserving now, not after the money arrives, but before. Because when you feel worthy of abundance, it finds you effortlessly. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about finally seeing yourself as you truly are. Abundant, powerful, deserving, ready. Live from the end, always. This is the final message. Don't just visualize your goal. Don't just talk about it. Live from it. Don't act like someone who's going to be rich. Be the one who already is. When you walk, walk like someone who's free. When you speak, speak with the knowing of someone whose needs are always met. When you sleep, sleep in the feeling of security, trust, and gratitude. This is the new you. This is the state you carry forward, beyond the 4 days, into every day. Because once the assumption is fully accepted, once the feeling becomes natural, reality has no choice. It will bend. It will respond. It will reflect what you have already claimed to be true. You already know it's done. You're not waiting for proof. You are the proof. Your feeling is the signal, and it is the most honest prayer you can offer. So instead of saying, I hope it comes soon, say, it is mine. It is done. It is already unfolding. That shift, subtle, quiet, but powerful, is the difference between delay and deliverance. The unseen always precedes the seen. If you feel discouraged because nothing seems to be happening, remember this. The delay is an illusion. Everything is already in motion. You just haven't seen the fruit yet because the roots are still growing. And just like gravity never fails, this law never fails either. Persist in the assumption that it is already done, and it must come to pass. That's not opinion. That's not maybe. That's certainty. Because the unseen always precedes the seen. Imagination always comes before manifestation. Feeling always lays the blueprint for reality. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.